Okay, guys, let's talk a little bit about torque. Now, what torque is the movement that causes something to rotate. The main thing we can see this is you can look at screwdrivers and wrenches and things like that. And basically, what is able to turn something is going to be the torque. It's the amount of force that's applied to it. The main equation that we use for it is torque is going to equal our force times the distance. Okay, we usually say the force times the radius because when we're dealing with torque, it's just the distance from the pivot point out. Okay, so depending on what we have, remember in the lab you can use where you have the pivot points in the center and then you have a nice balance going out and you can apply forces on both sides. You can have something like that. The pivot point would be in the center and then the distance would be from the center out. Remember that it is a difference in torque or a net torque that causes rotation. And on this one, we're just looking, when we find the torque, we're just looking at our force times the distance or the radius from the pivot point. Sometimes when we think of radius, it gets a little confusing. Think of this as distance. Okay, so basically it's just the distance from the pivot point. And the main thing, when there is a net torque, there is rotation. If there's no net torque, then we see that there is no rotation.